Hi, I'm Dani.
And I'm Lelo.
And we are the Hitchhiking Ghostettes. We're a couple of crazy Disney adults that love to talk about Disney. So we thought, hey, let's make strangers listen to us instead of all the people we know who are sick of us.
It was either a podcast or an OnlyFans page of Dani's feet at the Disney parks. So, you're welcome, guys.
We're going to share our likes, our dislikes, our experiences, and travel tips with you.
And for those of you who are ready to grab some Mickey ears and create your own magical Disney experiences, message us or leave a comment so we can help book your next vacation.
And quick disclosure, we will be cursing and swearing, Musketeers, so this is your warning.
Yes. So sit back in your dune buggy as our podcast materializes. And don't forget to hurry back.
Hey, Disney adults, we're back
Hey.
for episode 2. We hope you are too.
Yeah, after our first episode, which was our inaugural podcast, thank you guys so much for listening in. We
had some hiccups.
Yeah, we took down some notes. We're new at this, so clearly, we had to do a couple things. First off, we want to thank our wonderful producer, Dan, for getting us our new microphone because...
Yes, we got an upgrade.
Yes, this is really, really nice. So you guys will be able to hear us a little bit better. And with that, hopefully you hear us and not...
Background stuff?
Yes, background stuff. That was awesome. And then, trying to think, there were some things that we wanted to go over with you guys, like some of the abbreviations we used. We realized maybe not everybody that's listening to this podcast.
It was pointed out to us that we use Disney terminology so fluently that we forget that not everybody does.
Yes.
Which is fair. So, I know we talked about D23.
Mm-hmm.
D20, the D being for Disney, 23 being for 1923, which is the year that Walt and Roy moved to California and began the Disney Corporation. Mm-hmm. And so now D23 is the official Disney fan club.
Yes.
That we are both, of course, members of.
Of course.
And every 2 years they have the D23 Expo. Mm-hmm. So that's D23.
So it's like the Comic-Con, but for straight Disney fans.
Yes.
And it is incredible. And so I was able to join Dani's family, and we went and did D23 in 2024. And it was absolutely fantastic. And so we're hoping that we'll be able to be going out there again in 2026.
Yes.
So
we will definitely be going in 2026.
Yes, I know. As long as she's on getting into the queue and getting us our tickets, because as we said last time, I'm not great at that. So that'll be great.
And we didn't go into it a lot, but we kind of talked about DVC. Mm-hmm. Lelo's a DVC member, has been for a while. I just became a DVC member. DVC is Disney Vacation Club, mm-hmm. which is, to put it briefly, because I don't want to super go into DVC, but it's kind of a timeshare. It's like a complicated timeshare, but that doesn't lock you into a specific time or place. You can use it at lots of different places.
Yes, I actually used to work for a timeshare company, and I never thought I would ever invest in timeshare. And Disney is literally the only one I would ever do. Yeah. And it's because
I still wouldn't outside of Disney.
Yeah, heck no. But somehow it still tends to retain its value. It's crazy. You could almost sell it for close to what you bought it for still years later after you've used it a few times because people love it so much and it's in demand.
Well, and it's so flexible.
Yes.
Most timeshares commit you to a specific place on specific dates. Mm-hmm. Whereas with DVC, you can do almost anything you want. Not quite, but... Yes.
It's really, really great. And they still do have access to perks like Interval International, which if you own timeshare, it's like RCI, like different other companies that will allow you to mix and use your points over there in their system so that you don't just have to do Disney. You can go, out of the country and go stay somewhere else. So it is really, really flexible. Huge DVC fans. And
if you're a frequent park goer, it gets to the point where it just makes sense. But
completely makes sense. Yeah. So,
but anyway, in no way are we trying to sell a timeshare. So let's move away from that.
But yeah.
So we thought for this episode maybe we should talk about ourselves a little bit more, so you can kind of get to know us and how we became Disney adults and why we do what we do. Mm-hmm. So I've loved Disney my whole life. It was always something that I kind of shared with my grandma. So I grew up a lot. I was mostly in Oregon, and my grandma lives in Idaho, and things weren't super great in Oregon, and my grandma and I have always been really, really bonded. For all intents and purposes, she's the only parent I've ever really had. And so my memories I just always had these memories of when I lived with her and we would sit in bed and we would watch the old Disney shorts, when the big Mickey head would come on, and like, so all the classic stuff. And then obviously, of course, the movies. I didn't get to go to the parks when I was young. We never had money. I didn't actually get to go to a Disney park until I was 19, and I was taking my grandma and my little brother, and so that was a super fun, amazing trip. Actually, if I get to a quick little story, because one of my favorite Disney memories ever happened on that trip. So I took my little brother, and he loved, Donald is his favorite. He loved Donald. So we had 5 whole days just for the parks, and he was so excited to meet Donald. He was 11. Yes, he was. He was 11 at the time. So 4 days go by, no Donald. We don't see Donald anywhere. We've even like gone to a character dining and everything, no Donald.
Aww.
And so we're going into the park on our last day, and he's so disappointed. He's thinking like, it's, you know, we haven't seen him by now, we're not going to see him again. And he was even telling me, he was asking me like how much film I had left in my camera. Remember when we used film in our camera, guys? He was telling me, don't take too many pictures because I want to make sure that we have film for when we see Donald. So we're in the park and we don't see Donald. And finally we asked a cast member if like there's any chance of meeting Donald, where should we go? And they said go to the like Main Street hub. Like he should be there a little bit later. And so we went and we just like hung out there waiting to see Donald. And then sure enough, Donald shows up all the way on the other side of the hub. And my little brother just like, to this day, maybe the most excited I've ever seen him. And he just somehow, as far away as Donald is, and we all know how when a character comes out, they're just immediately swarmed, right?
Right.
Somehow from all the way on the other side of that hub, he was the first person to Donald. He was so excited. He just bolts over there to see Donald. And it's just one of my favorite moments ever. So
That's
also resulted in
adorable.
one of my favorite pictures ever, yes. So, but yeah, so I mean, for me, it was always this sort of bonding thing that I shared with my grandma, and that always reminded me of her when I had to be in Oregon and I couldn't be with her. And then as soon as I could go to a park, which took until I was 19, but just was obsessed. And so it's all I want to do now.
That's so, I mean, let me get this straight. So you're a Disney adult that is possibly like a damaged person that became a Disney adult? That's so weird.
Right?
Yeah, I know. So crazy. Disney adults being damaged. What?
My love of cartoons where people, you know, have to like get through a lot of adversity and in the end get to have some happiness. Like, I don't know why I needed to watch that so much.
Yeah. I mean, I grew up Hispanic, so my mom always had me cleaning the house. So I watched Cinderella. I was like, yes, there's a prince at the end of all this. Very exciting.
Yep. Prince in a castle and a coach.
I know. Close enough. I got DVC and a 6'5" giant, so I'm good. I did okay.
You did.
Let me think. I'm thinking back to, well, so I was a little different. I got to go to the parks a lot, but that's because my father worked for the Disney company.
So you just had like an in.
Yeah, big time in. Oh man.
You've almost never not had perks.
Correct.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And well, it's kind of amazing, but the problem with that is that you get so used to it that you're like, okay, clearly this is a perk I need to have in my life. So meeting other people that understand that, well, this is a necessity. What do you mean Disney's a necessity? I mean, it's a necessity.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
absolutely.
if you don't understand that need of mine, we can't be friends. So
you don't get it, you're not going to get it.
Yeah.
There's nothing more to say.
And I'm not going to explain myself for the 100th time, okay? So I could be a little damaged too. But yeah, no, anyway, my dad worked for Disney. He worked for the hotel, actually, before it was purchased by the Disney company. It was the Disneyland Hotel, but it was owned by, I think it was
I don't remember, and I should,
Warner
because
or
I've
Jack
read
Wagner's.
the whole history of that hotel, and I don't
Yeah.
remember the names.
I'm terrible at that, but it was owned by somebody else before Disney took it over. And so I grew up dropping my dad off because he was the room service manager for the hotel. So we ran in and out of the hotel. And that was back, I mean, this is how old I am, but I would run through the Disneyland Hotel and they had the dancing waters back then. So the dancing waters was this cute little, it was kind of like, think of the Bellagio fountains in Vegas, but like on a minuscule scale. It was like literally like a wall. But these fun like fountains that would go up, and then they had like all these light bulbs behind it, like a big wall of lights, and the lights would go off in different colors to accent like the springing of the fountains, you know, and they would do it to songs like Neil Diamond's We're Coming to America or something like that. So that was the stuff I remember. It was very patriotic, I remember. But that was a lot of fun. So I saw that, and then there were like little areas that you could run around like through the waterfalls.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, except, you know, there were all these signs that say slippery when wet. Duh. Like that was like a slip and slide. It was pretty dangerous, actually. Because back, again, I was old enough to remember when Disney didn't care about our safety. So crazy things would happen.
You say Disney, but like, did anyone?
No, not really. It was the 80s. We're on our own. It was crazy times.
Kids running around unsupervised everywhere.
Yeah. Well, Disney was so different back then because like Tom Sawyer's Island, I think we talked about that last time too, was so different when I was growing up. It was a lot more immersive. Kids were allowed to do a lot more. And then as, you know, Dani and I were discussing this before we started the podcast, but they also had Big Thunder Mountain Ranch back then, which now has been replaced by Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, but it was like a barbecue restaurant and this place where you could see like a blacksmith, and they had a petting zoo where you could see, you know, they had a cow and some sheep and, you know, people that were pretending to be almost like the Hoop-de-Doo, you know, the one that they have out in Florida, something like that. Like they would do a review where they had like performances and stuff, and then barbecue food. So it was a really cool place. But I just remember back then Disney was a lot more like you did stuff more park-like, you know, not theme park, but like a park environment. Yeah. So there's a lot more family activities.
There was more like unstructured
exactly
areas where you just kind of hung out or
wander around and just look at sights and stuff. Yeah. So it was a lot of fun. But anyway, my dad, of course, working for Disney, we'd get into the parks for free all the time. So we would just go for dinner. My mom didn't want to cook, so we just go there for dinner. It was crazy. Yeah.
You just went to Disney for dinner.
Just went to Disney for dinner. And then one year we took our family
I'm
vacation
at home watching TV commercials for Disney, crying because I don't think I'm ever going to get to go. And she's just like, oh, let's just go in for dinner.
I remember the one time where I was like, oh my God, Disneyland again. I'll never forget it. It was the one time I said it. And I was like, I can't believe we have to go to Disneyland again. I was really irritated because I just wanted to stay at home. And they're like, well, my mom didn't want to cook. She's like, yeah, let's go to Disneyland. So I'm like, fine. And I'm all bratty about it. And we go to Disneyland. And that's when I saw my teen idol, Alyssa Milano. She was right next to me. Like, she and a whole bunch of the other kids back then that she used to do movies with. I think it was like Brian Bloom and this kid Chris from The Great Outdoors. Anyway, a bunch of them walked by us in the line for Pirates of the Caribbean. And I was freaking out because not only did I not want to go to Disneyland, but then my mom drags us onto her favorite ride, which is Pirates. So I'm in line. I don't look the cutest. Here's Alyssa Milano with all these cute boys.
By the way, every time Lelo says she didn't look the cutest, she super did.
No.
All right,
promise you. She's very sweet. She just loves me. But this day, to see Alyssa Milano, I could never be ready. Even to this day, I could never be cute enough. But anyway, they walk by. I'm all excited. I'm like, oh my God, it's Alyssa Milano. I'm freaking out. And then they were the next people to get on a boat after we boarded a boat. And I remember we got in the boat, and I'm so busy freaking out to my mom, telling her, oh my God, it's Alyssa Milano, that my dad, who kind of is like, he reminds us a lot of Robert De Niro. My dad is just, you know, he's kind of a more serious guy and everything. We're starting to take off on the boat, and my dad just stands up in the pirate boat and screams, who's the boss? Real loud, because she used to be on Who's the Boss with Tony Danza. And I remember being so humiliated. Like, the entire Pirates of the Caribbean, I'm like, oh my God, Dad, you're so embarrassing. So I was totally humiliated by my dad. And I hadn't even thought about him embarrassing me because I was too worried that my mom and my sisters might. And I was like, everyone be cool. It's Alyssa Milano. And then my dad does, like, the uncoolest thing. Anyway, so that happened.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of my favorite memories, I guess, from Disney. Well, I have a lot of memories.
Is that your only celebrity sighting in Disney?
No.
Tell us more.
Well, but I've had quite a few. Actually, when I was really little,
Oh, hold on. So, talking about your connection to Disney, like, you haven't even mentioned the part where you also were a cast member.
Right. So, I got to be a cast member, funny enough, not while I was living in California.
No.
I decided to become a cast member while I lived here in the lovely state of Idaho. I'm the queen of having several jobs. There's a little amount of time in my life where I was a single mom, and so I would make money wherever I could.
Often I've texted or called Lelo and been like, so what job are you working today?
I collect jobs as like a sickness. I collect jobs the way I collect Disney merch. It's horrible. And I have this fear of not having enough jobs, so I won't quit them. But I might taper off working them, but I'll still have the job technically. And that's what happened with Disneyland. So basically, I'm working out here as an esthetician, But then I take this nighttime full-time job as a representative for Alaska Airlines, which was amazing. Great company to work for, which offers this wonderful perk where now I can just jump onto flights for free. So I get this bug up my ass to go ahead and, oh, you know what? I'm going to do something I've always wanted to do. I'm going to try to get a job for Disney. I honestly went out with my daughter because there was a couple things going on. So my daughter wanted to try living in California. So it's kind of a thing where she and I both just decided we're just going to give it a shot and see what happens. And so we fly out. They were doing some big job fair with Disney. And we go there. And I never really expected to get a job at Disney. I don't even live in the state. And they hired me basically on the spot. Both of us, we were really excited. And then of course comes the little minute details. How am I going to get back and forth to work from Idaho
to Anaheim?
To Anaheim. And I had a sister that lived in California, but she lived in the Murrieta, Temecula area, which is not exactly around the corner. So I said, okay, even if I fly out here and stay with my sister for free and work the weekends, that's still quite a bit. So anyway.
Quite a bit.
Yeah, long story short, I made it happen for a little while. And I was one of those things where I was a cast member and I did work. I worked at Cafe Orleans. I was a hostess there. And I worked there long enough. I was there the day that Kim Kardashian made a whole lot of people angry because they had VIP tours. They were on a VIP tour. And so they were brought to the front of the lines and then they closed down like the teacups and stuff like that. So if they were the only ones on the ride while everyone else is waiting. Yeah. And so everyone's getting mad. So I remember that was happening. Yeah. That was crazy. And then I was out there when, is this what you're talking about when I almost made a scene? So
probably. There
I am in my Cafe Orleans costume, my uniform, which for those of you who frequent Disney know that this is not the cutest costume. Again, I'm kind of looking like a pioneer woman on Easter with the aprons and all the drama. It was kind of ridiculous. Yep. But I'm wearing this super uncute outfit, and right in front of my face walks, a VIP cast member, a tour guide, and then Jon Favreau, and then behind him, Pedro Pascal. And
what?
I immediately, my manager starts to see me literally lose my cool. I'm losing it big time because I just don't do well in those situations because I will quit everything and just jump these people and I love you and I'm horrible. So he starts saying, remember, keep your cool. And I'm thinking physically, I don't even know what to do at this point because they're right in front of me. And Jon Favreau, I could have just thrown my arms out. He passed right in front of me. But they're on their way to the not Blue Bayou, but Club 33.
Club 33.
Yeah, they're on their way over there. And so I just got to watch them walk by. But yeah, I almost lost my job that day. I was so close to just jumping up and down and screaming and sexually assaulting someone, which I say not as kind of a joke, but not like, and sexual assault meaning like if I hug him without being asked, it's okay. That's what I mean, guys. That's what I mean. Stop, reverse, that's nothing too crazy. Can you imagine?
That's crazy.
That's not a threat for anyone who's listening to this. I retract that statement. But, I could have given an unsolicited hug. That's what I'm talking about.
It's a good thing that you didn't.
Yeah, good thing I didn't.
That would have been good.
No, yeah. Ooh, I would have been arrested.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was a lot of fun.
I don't know what I would have done. Holy hell, wow.
Well, those are two, and that was right around the time, The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I almost didn't recognize Pedro Pascal because he was so thin. Like, honestly, he was a lot thinner than I think I expected to see him at the time. This is a couple years ago.
Didn't he, I might be totally wrong, but he got really thin for a role that I think happened, like, during or maybe right after a season of Mandalorian? Because I remember seeing some sort of, like, clip of him and thinking, wow, he's thin.
Yeah.
And then... Or, I don't know. Was it just a fit in the Mando costume? I don't know, but
that could be too because I'm sure that's a lot of costume.
When was Narcos? Because he was on Narcos, right?
Yeah, but I think it was before.
That was before.
Yeah, I think that was before Mandalorian.
Well, I probably don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it was just really, really cool to see him. Once I realized it was him,
that's amazing.
Yeah, so a lot of fun.
So you were an Alyssa Milano fan as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
So like fast forward to Charmed, like. You already loved Alyssa.
Oh, yeah. Well, Shannon Doherty, 90210, freaking out. Yeah. Like, oh my gosh.
Because I watched Brenda. Charmed, but I didn't know any of them. Like, literally, everyone that was on Charmed, that was the first time I saw them on Charmed. So.
Yes. Alyssa Milano, I was like, she looked exactly the same.
Yeah.
20 years later, and she looked exactly the same. She's just beautiful. But yeah, I grew up, I watched her on the movie Commando, because I was also a huge Arnold Schwarzenegger fan back in the day. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sly Stallone. Oh, all those 80s action guys, my fave. Loved all of them. But Arnold had, like, my heart. So I really, really loved me some Arnold. And when it was him and Alyssa Milano on the same screen, I was freaking out. I thought it was really cute that they were trying to pass off Alyssa Milano as Arnold Schwarzenegger's daughter in the first place. I thought that was just hysterical, but...
I vaguely remember that.
Commando? Yeah.
But I didn't see the whole thing. I think I only caught, like, a part of it because someone else was watching it. Because I haven't seen it, but what you're saying to me is very familiar.
Yeah, so his daughter gets kidnapped, and he, you know... Oh, that was just a great movie.
What was
disturb him.
Yep.
He's dead tired.
Was there a movie with... Was it Arnold? Did he do a movie with Jamie Lee Curtis and Eliza Dushku?
Yes.
I saw part of that because I love Eliza Dushku.
Mm-hmm.
Big fan of Eliza Dushku.
Right.
And I remember, again, it was a situation where like someone else was watching it because I have not seen all of True Lies.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember a scene where she like took money out of her mom's purse.
Yeah,
or something.
totally. Yeah.
And then there's a scene way later. She's like hanging off a crane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm not totally making that up.
No, not at all.
Okay.
She's like, she's not.
That's all I remember, by the way.
It's a crane up on a skyscraper, and of course, instead of plummeting her to her death, she's caught on the nose of a jet. It was fantastic scenery. Yeah, you got to watch that. That was a fun movie.
Movies were crazy.
I know. Yeah.
The
Well, Arnold Schwarzenegger, you knew right there. This is going to be some
That's
psychotic
true.
stuff.
An Arnold movie is an Arnold movie. But it does feel like you could get away with so much more ridiculousness in movies back in the day than you could now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if something shifted where like audiences just stopped accepting certain levels of
It can't
insanity?
be because Fast and the Furious is still Fast and the Furious 14. Isn't that what we're on right now?
Oh, I don't even.
And
know.
that's some ridiculous stuff.
Fast and the Furious is crazy. Well, I remember Fast and the Furious 1 had like the one stunt. And that's how I want to say the first like 4 were. Is like, I mean, yeah, there was lots of craziness, but each one had one like main, big, completely insane stunt.
Mm-hmm.
But then you get into the later ones and
where
it's
they're
just
just
every
jumping
5
from
minutes.
yeah. You're jumping from
It's the
a speeding
whole
boat onto a spacecraft that's falling on, and you're dropping out of a spacecraft in a car to land on the ground, and it's like it's getting pretty crazy.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, it's as ridiculous as Jason Statham still being in the same exact kind of movies 40 years later.
Seriously.
But I'll still watch him in everything. I love him too. Have you seen any of the Expendable movies?
Only the first one.
Those are all fantastic.
And my favorite part of it, by the way, was Charisma Carpenter. I'm sorry.
In the Expendables?
I'm a Charisma fan.
When was she in that one?
She's only in it for like a minute.
Okay.
Because she's the main character's girlfriend.
Oh, wait. Like Sylvester Stallone?
Was it 2? Dan, which Expendables did you make me watch?
1?
So it was 1. She's in there. I remember she's in there. And I remember they're like arguing, like she's mad about something, and he's kind of trying to like placate her.
Jason Statham's girlfriend.
Jason Statham's girlfriend. Yes.
Of course it was Jason Statham's girlfriend.
Yes. So I'm sorry. I mean, I should probably care about everything else in those movies,
No.
but I care about Charisma Carpenter.
I cared about every action person they dug up
I love
to
Liam
put in these movies.
Hemsworth.
Yeah?
So unpopular opinion, I think Liam.
Don't start. Don't even say it. I know where you're going, and you can't.
I'm sorry.
He's a cutie
I'm
pie,
sorry.
but he's not eclipsing Thor. You gotta be kidding me.
Okay, and I know you're gonna disagree.
Chris, I love you. Whatever
I know,
she's about to say,
no,
I love you.
Don't take this to mean I don't like Chris. I love Chris. I put Liam just barely above Chris.
What?
I don't like too much muscle. Like,
what?
Muscle reaches a point where I don't find it attractive anymore. So, and Thor is too much for me. Like, because this is gonna be weird. I feel like, imagine you're snuggling in bed, right? I feel like he would be hard.
I have no problem with this.
I do.
I have no problem.
I want some like you know who's perfect? Who's like, if we're talking, especially if we're talking Avengers, if we're talking perfect, Hawkeye. I am in love with Hawkeye. He's toned. He's very nicely toned, but it's not too much. Chris is too much for me. But you know what Chris does have that is the absolute sexiest is his voice. Oh my god. I could literally listen to him say anything in any language.
Well, so my problem here is that I could tell you in detail
Oh no.
everything I adore about each male member of the Avengers.
Of course you could.
I literally every single one of those men. You put them in front of me, I'm like, yes, I love this. I mean, those men are just like perfection. Chris Evans, good Lord. Chris Hemsworth, I can't. Robert Downey Jr., thank you. I mean, it's just like all of them.
Thank you.
Jeremy Renner, though, I mean, the fact that he's more superhero in real life than he was even in Avengers, I mean, he just, with his whole accent and everything, he blows me away. That man is incredible.
Yeah.
So he's
I like him.
yeah, he's next level, I will admit. However, I mean, and I love Paul Rudd, all those guys.
I love Paul
I'm happy with all of them.
But I would not call Paul Rudd hot.
What? Did you not see Clueless?
I love Clueless.
And he was hot in Clueless. She even said he's kind of a Baldwin.
I think he's sexy. I think he's very sexy.
Maybe not be sexy and hot.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird in how I don't know. Hot is. Okay, hang on a second. Because I'm figuring something out about
This is Dani.
myself.
I'm Lelo. Lelo is saying, Paul Rudd, you are hot.
And
Dani said you're not
saying
hot. That's not
Paul
me.
Rudd is very sexy. He's very underrated. And he also, I mean, you can never know with celebrities, right? But I just have this super strong feeling that he is an awesome person.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's very sexy. But hold on, I feel like I'm figuring something out about myself right now because I can't think of anyone I would call hot.
What? I have a whole list already, ready to go list at all times.
So maybe I just don't like the word, I don't know. Maybe hot's just not my word for that. I don't know. This is not making any more sense to me than it is to you, if that helps you feel any better. Because Paul Rudd is very sexy.
Yeah. Well, sexy is a nicer word than hot, but I mean, I wouldn't say that. I find them, each of one of those men, they are both to me.
Maybe because the very few times I've been called hot, it was in a very uncomfortable situation. So maybe that just ruined the word. I don't know.
Okay, fair enough. So
But
right now,
I'm sorry that I disagree on Chris. He's so much muscle.
I have no
You
problem
can't
with that.
snuggle with him.
I have no problem snuggling Chris Hemsworth. I'll try it, okay, and I'll tell you. I'll report back. I'll tell you next time I snuggle Chris Hemsworth. I'll let you know whether or not it was a good snuggle or if he was just too hard. Like, the guys, I will report back to you if I decide that Chris Hemsworth at any time in my life is too hard for me. And it's a problem, I will let you know.
This might be one of my favorite side tangents ever.
Chris Hemsworth, too hard, same sentence. I don't understand.
But I want to say my favorite Avenger.
This is
I thought it was
already a hot topic right now for me.
I thought it was going to be easy, but now I'm actually having a hard time. I think my favorite Avenger is probably Tony Stark. I love Tony Stark. Tony Stark has my heart for sure. But Black Widow. I love Black Widow so much. I feel like we don't get enough from her. And I love Black Widow and Hawkeye a lot because I feel like they are holding their own.
Yeah.
In the Avengers. Like, look at what the others have. Like, Tony Stark is Iron Man. Like, he's got the suit. He's got all these incredible things. He's practically, like, who's going to come at him, right? And then you have Captain America. He's got his super strength. He has actual superpowers. And you have Thor, who's a freaking demigod. Like, these people have powers.
And then you
Hawkeye
got Black Widow and
Black
Hawkeye.
Widow
They're just
have
badasses.
nothing
Yeah.
except for their training and their skill and their determination and their fearlessness, and like, so that's just so cool to me that these people who do not have superpowers are fully holding their own in a group of people who have superpowers.
Agreed. Totally agreed. And Black Widow. Well, Black Widow and her sister Yelena, both of them. I wish that we could have had at least another movie with the two of them in it.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch her in the Black Widow movie? Did you watch?
I did watch the Black Widow movie, yes.
That she was really, really good. I loved her too. But I loved Scarlett Johansson in those Avengers
Scarlett
movies.
Johansson.
Yeah.
I've never seen Scarlett Johansson do anything that I didn't like. On a sadder note, did you ever watch Marriage Story?
No, I couldn't because it felt like it was going to hit too hard. But
That might be true.
Yeah, but I did
be true.
see some clips of the acting between her and Adam Driver, and I was
Incredible.
like, it's so real that I'm like, oh, I probably lived that, so I'm good.
That's fair.
But I can imagine they were good. I
did have to tap out. There's a scene where a mediator has to come in and like evaluate their parenting and their places where they live, and that was a weird trigger for me.
Sure.
Like I did have to literally turn it off and finish it like a day later.
Yeah.
But we should talk about a different movie.
Yikes.
But
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson is amazing.
Scarlett, we love you.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, so speaking of Scarlett Johansson, speaking of hot action heroes, we're going to bring this up very briefly because I know in the last episode, we're in hard times right now, guys. Really, really hard times.
Hard times.
I don't know how to move forward from this because I am having to
Struggling.
learn and struggle with the difference between differentiating
You're trying to
Deadpool
separate.
from Ryan Reynolds. And
We're all
Ryan Reynolds is a
collectively very
hot button right now.
disappointed.
Yeah, it's a big disappointment. The stuff that's going on. I don't even really want, I'm trying to stay neutral. Because
It's pretty
such a
impossible to
trigger.
be
Yeah,
neutral
it's
on this
really,
one.
really impossible to be neutral. And, you know, and I really did want to be team Deadpool in this situation, but it's getting harder and harder to see that side.
Yep.
So in the last episode, we did mention that I am a huge Deadpool fan, and I absolutely am. I am an absolute huge lover of all things Deadpool. That being
Guys,
said,
Lelo's really struggling.
I know.
She's
I am
very-
talking about Deadpool. Okay? And we're going to leave it at that. Whatever's happening with the formerly known as incredibly hot and beautiful Ryan Reynolds, right now I'm just saying Ryan Reynolds. That's all I'm calling him now. No more adjectives. I'm not doing adjectives for him right now. I'm too upset.
That's fair.
And that's all I'm going to say about that. I just want everyone out there to understand where we're coming from on this. We're not going to necessarily take an official stance. We're just going to say that when we refer to Deadpool, we're referring to the character and not the actor.
Yep. We are separating the artist from the art form.
Yes.
Yes.
It's
hard.
Yeah, it's very hard. But we're moving on because that is such a sore subject with me right now. It's just so upsetting.
All right.
So,
Well, we concluded our 2024 recap last time. Oh, except for one thing. We did not talk about our super fun shipping our merch home debacle during our, and I need to talk about this, guys. So during our October trip, we, acquired some things.
What? Do we overbuy on merch? That sounds so unlike
So,
us.
I'm in Epcot and I buy some really cool Food and Wine Fest merch, and the cashier tells me that it can be, or I think I may have asked like how shipping stuff home works, because I know that they do it, but I wasn't clear on all the logistics. And she said, oh yeah, no, it's super easy. Literally anywhere where you pay, you can, anything that you buy in Disney, you can have shipped home. And she was like, but you will pay for shipping each time you do it. So she said, just like do all of your shopping and wait till the end of your trip. And then you can just go to the customer service desk or concierge or whatever it's called at your hotel. And you can have everything shipped home and they'll take care of it for you. Easy peasy. And I was like, oh, that's fantastic. Because there were some things that I was holding off on buying because I had no idea how I was going to get them home. Knowing this, I now give myself full leeway to buy all of the things. And so,
And just to step in real quick, I think, and this is where I might have been misunderstanding, but I don't think I even heard them say the part where we needed to have receipts or that it even needed to be Disney merch.
she did not say any of
She
that.
didn't say
She
that.
said
Okay.
anything that you buy in Disney, you can have shipped home.
Okay.
Okay. There are several details that she left out.
Okay.
But what got me even more frustrated is it's like, okay, so she told me that, and I was like, oh, awesome news. Okay. So then I go to, so I go do more shopping, and I went to the, I'm going to mispronounce it, Mitsukushi, the big store in the Japan Pavilion. And I bought several things. And for my son, I bought a very large Mario mushroom, the green mushroom. Very big. This thing is not fitting in my suitcase. Because also I've already bought him a very large stuffed animal that's already back at the hotel. But I buy it knowing that I can send it home. That and several other things. And so this was like in the middle of our trip. And so, other parks, other places, more shopping, right? And so, and I told Lelo what I had learned.
Good evening,
So she
family
also,
and friends.
oh, there's our nifty
Welcome
little,
you onto your virtual terrace for a live viewing of your favorite fireworks spectaculars
So it's not the door
across
lock
the
this time.
Orlando night sky.
Yay!
Be able to enjoy Epcot's fireworks on your left side and Magic Kingdom's fireworks on your right. Find a good spot because the nighttime spectaculars will begin in just a few minutes.
All right, we'll talk about that more later. So after more shopping, Lelo as well, because of course I share this very important piece of information. So we get back to our hotel, and I made 2 separate phone calls. I talked to 2 separate cast members who both echoed exactly what the cast member in Epcot had told me. So I'm like, okay, 3 cast members have told me exactly the same thing. I can't possibly have anything to worry about. But then we take our stuff to the desk to have this done. And the first thing that the woman at the desk pulls out of my bag is a Pokemon stuffed animal that I had gotten at the Japan store. And she looks at it and she goes, "This isn't Disney." And I said, "Well, it is. I bought it in the Japan Pavilion in Epcot." And she was like, "Oh, those aren't Disney. Several of the stores in the showcase, the World Showcase, are not actually Disney stores, and therefore we hold no responsibility for any of the merchandise in them, and they are not included in the service where you can sense of home." So now immediately I'm thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? Because several of the larger things that I bought, I now know are apparently technically not Disney. And I'm like pleading with her. I'm like, okay, 3 different people have told me that I was going to be able to do this. So like, I don't know if you guys need to communicate better on the details of how all of this works, but literally 3 different people told me that I could do this without a problem. Nobody said, "Oh, just so you know, there are several stores in Epcot that don't count." And then the other thing that none of the 3 of them said also is that all of the items need to still have their original tags attached, and you have to have all of your receipts for everything.
Right.
Most of my stuff did not have tags attached, and I did not have all my receipts, because why would I? So this got very frustrating very quickly. I'm looking at this woman going, I literally don't know what I'm going to do. I don't have a box. I do not have like the suitcase space. And then they were like, okay, well, there's this other process that we can do, and you have to fill out all of these forms, and it's technically going to get shipped by a third party, not Disney, because it's not Disney stuff. But it all just felt very, like, have you ever been in the process of something and you can tell that you're not on the same page with the person? Like, you know something's going wrong, but you can't like pinpoint it, and it's new to you, so you don't even know what to, and so it's like, so I fill out the forms and I take pictures of the forms. And so then we hand over this huge bag full of stuff, and she takes it and she like walks in the back with it, and I just like, I can just feel it in the pit of my stomach. I'm like, I am not getting all of my merch. So for the next several weeks after I get home, I'm like on edge worrying about all of this stuff showing up. And eventually the box shows up, and sure enough, I am missing the gift that I bought for my husband. And so I call guest services and talk to someone who was very unhelpful, which was surprising because generally speaking, Disney customer service is stellar.
Yes.
Stellar. So it kind of takes me aback on the rare occasion that I get someone that's just very unhelpful, because it seems very out of place for Disney. But anyway, and he's just like, "Well, do you have the slip from when you shipped it?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Okay, you also have to have your receipt." Oh, so get this, people. After we figured out the whole thing and she takes my bag of stuff, that bag has all of my receipts in it. Conveniently, the receipt for the missing item is not there. So both the gift and the receipts disappeared before my stuff made it into the box that came to my house. So, not great, guys.
No.
I feel like there should be a little bit more accountability there, because someone just got a free. It was a shoulder pal Ikron from Pandora. So
Those are so cute too.
yes, so someone got a free one.
Dan, it was really cute. I promise you it was.
It was.
Now we're gonna have to go to Animal Kingdom and get him one, because that's upsetting.
Anyway, so
Oh.
this is my little addendum to our October trip. So now fast forwarding to 25, Lelo went to Aulani.
Yes, I went to Aulani. All right, so I don't know how many people, when you go to Hawaii, if you actually like to enjoy Hawaii, or if you just like to stay in your resort. But I was with a bunch of people that really just like the resort, so I didn't get to really venture
sad to me.
out of the resort as much as I love Aulani, and it is incredible. I kind of wish we could have done a little bit more sightseeing, but the truth is I took some of my family members with me, and they had never seen the Aulani Resort before, and some of them had never been to Hawaii at all, but my mom and my dad had been.
Who went on your last trip to Aulani? Was it everyone but you? This was their first time on this trip?
To Aulani?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, when I first went to Aulani, we were using our points after we had become DVC members, and we took the kids, their significant others, so we took them out, and then a very good friend of ours, my future son-in-law's father, good friend of ours. So anyway, so we all went out there, had an amazing time. It was Aulani, the Aulani Resort. If you have an opportunity to stay at Aulani, please do so. That resort, you technically don't have to leave the resort to still feel like you got a little bit of everything Hawaii in that one place. It was just, it's heaven. It's paradise on earth. But with the kids, we definitely didn't leave the resort. So we got to kind of soak up everything, which was great. So then on this trip, I'm thinking, I'm bringing all the adults. It's just like my parents, my sisters, I have one of my best friends. So I was like, okay, we're going to go and have a great time. But now I'm with people who, once they saw the resort again, it's so breathtaking that they're like, yeah, we're not leaving the resort. We just want to do nothing but sit on this gorgeous beach or sit in this beautiful lazy river and, drink Mai Tais or whatever, but we don't need to go anywhere. And I had wanted to do like the Kailua Ranch, which is where they filmed Jurassic Park and all that stuff. And, we did go to Pearl Harbor. We did do that for the day. But other than that, yeah, we stayed at the resort because they just loved it. And I know you guys haven't gone yet,
No.
But Aulani, they have Dole Whip there, like the full-on Mickey,
so.
yeah, like the
Dole is.
Mickey heads. Oh my gosh, yes, it was just next level. We had the character breakfast in their Makahiki restaurant, and their character breakfast was delicious. Like that resort, I can't say enough of it. It is so pretty. Polynesian resort has like that same vibe,
Yeah,
so it does kind of feel a lot like the Aulani, yeah, vibe. Clearly, yeah, because they're both Hawaiian, but it does feel similar.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys like the Polynesian, you're gonna
I have
freak
no
out
doubt.
over Aulani.
Because we've been to Hawaii twice, not to Aulani, we went to the Big Island. So we've been to Hilo and Kona.
Okay.
And we love Hawaii so much. Like, we felt like we found our true happiness in Hawaii. It was incredible. But we just like stayed in places and went and sort of like, because I really wanted to like be in Hawaii and be around like Hawaiian people and do things. Like I really wanted to experience Hawaii like almost as if you're kind of living there. Because I love the true culture of Hawaii. So, but Aulani, we would love to do Aulani. That's definitely on our list. And now being DVC members, it got a little bit more realistic. So, because definitely, once upon a time, we did actually even have an Aulani trip booked that we ended up having to cancel. But I mean, even leading up to it and getting booked, it was just like, it's so much money. And it doesn't include a lot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we were looking at that going like, we could go on like an amazing cruise for that amount of money and have a lot more stuff included. So it's just, yes. But now we can use DVC points and it got a lot more affordable. So.
Yeah, it almost feels free, guys. That's the problem with DVC points. It suddenly feels like, we can stay there for free.
We're not paying dollars for it. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's just
that's Disney
darn-
math. That's Disney
We're
math.
not counting those large monthly payments.
Yeah. Yeah.
When we say we're not paying for
maintenance fees every year, none of that counts. All I know is that every September when my use year opens up and I can have more points, I'm like, when am I going to Aulani? Because it is just gorgeous.
But Aulani looks amazing. And everything that I've read about Aulani looks incredible too. Because I guess they worked a lot with, Hawaiian people, and it's supposed to be very, very authentic, and there's supposed to be different sort of pieces of culture and history throughout and stuff like that. And
absolutely,
they have a luau, like apparently a really authentic luau.
Their luau is really, really nice. They have their own beach cove, or like their own private beach, and so you can rent catamarans or kayaks or paddleboards and everything for right there. But then I really like, because it's so family friendly, that it has its own little snorkel lagoon that is, safe, so that when you're snorkeling, like I'm a big scaredy cat, and I'm afraid of huge open waters because I really am afraid of sharks. And so that was always a huge
you
fear
and
of
my
mine.
brother the same in that.
Yeah.
Like, he's terrified of the open ocean. Now he's been in it, like. Like sometimes he manages to, I think, kind of like put it away a little bit. But he has shared with me that, like, because we went snorkeling one time on a Disney cruise. We did this excursion where you actually got on like a sailboat, like a local sailboat, and they took you like way out to this little teeny tiny island where there's almost always turtles, occasionally dolphins. And yeah, he told me how it's like, you know, he kind of just like ignored everything, but there was a moment when we were in the water and we were under there and we were snorkeling and all of us were having a great time, and he said there was just this moment where he kind of like looked like out and it was just this like dark watery abyss, and he was like, so I was done. He was like, I'm going back to the boat, like anything could emerge out of that darkness. And I was like, well, I mean, you're not wrong.
Yeah. You know, I back in 2003, yeah, it was 2003, I had gone to Mexico. We went to the Tulum area, and we went to a place called Xel-Há, which is kind of like a water park with, like, if you go on their lazy river, there's fish underneath you in the river because it's a real river. Like,
Wow.
it's yeah, like a very all natural kind of a water park.
That sounds awesome.
Well, so we go.
You don't hate fish like you hate bugs, right?
No, I kind of, well,
Oh no.
yeah, I mean, I don't love it. And this was not long after, was it around Finding Nemo time? Yeah, it had to have been, because without Finding Nemo, I don't think I would have known what a barracuda was, which is unfortunately what I met underneath the water with a snorkel
For
mask
real?
on. Yeah.
Like you saw one.
I saw
up
it,
close.
Way too close.
That's
Way too
crazy.
close that I know the size of a barracuda, and it just felt a little too sharkish to me. But I think underwater with those snorkel masks on, I feel like everything is probably I hope they all look bigger than they really are. But it looked huge. If I can look into your eyes, you're too big and you're too close, and I'm freaking out. And that thing was a little too much. So I don't love, and that was a surprise. I was like literally looking at one thing, oh, how pretty, and I turned around and this freaking barracuda is just staring at me. And I just felt complete terror. And you could have told me, oh, no, barracudas, they don't even attack. It doesn't matter. Whatever that thing was, just the fact that it was under the water with me, it was too big and too close.
That would be scary.
Yeah. So I am kind of a big scaredy cat about stuff like that. So snorkeling in a nice little,
Safe.
safe, enclosed, pretty much chlorinated pool, which is what it felt like with, you know, it's really, really nice. It's great for the kids. And like for my mom, my sister, who they're like me, we're not huge into critters and nature.
I like critters.
It was just enough, you know, where they were like, wow, we got the experience. Well, my mom dunked her head underwater, and as soon as she felt slimy water get anywhere near her mouth, she got up and immediately started vomiting. So she had to, so she left. That was pretty funny. I mean, my poor
That was
mom.
funny.
She's very easily grossed out, and she doesn't do lots of nature stuff. So this was not her thing. We didn't go camping as kids. Glamping was asking a lot. Like, no. But actually, if you ask my mom what is the most camping she's ever done, she will tell you staying at the cabins at Fort Wilderness in Florida was
What?
the closest to camp. Yeah,
Disney
that's
World
her mind.
Resort
Yes.
is her. Okay.
That's camping for my mom.
Okay.
That was a little too much.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
That's it. So, that's
So
who
you're
raised
never
me.
gonna get in a cage with me and be dropped down into the water with the great whites?
Didn't we see that movie? Haven't we seen those movies a little too often already?
I
You know
haven't.
those never go right. Those movies, every time they do that, their cable breaks. They go down 40 meters down, and then
Those are
it's
movies.
well, movies come from somewhere.
Okay, when was the last time you heard an actual news report of one of those cages breaking off of the boat?
When was the last time you heard someone actually dying inside Disneyland or a Disney park?
Technically, nobody does. Do you want to know why?
Yeah, I do know. The same reason why you never hear that anyone died when their cage snapped underwater is because PR.
Well, it's definitely PR, but I learned something that I think is interesting and also stupid because it makes actual documentation inaccurate. So, yes, definitely Disney does not want you to think that anyone has ever died in the park. There's absolutely a PR element to this. But also, apparently, the only, like legally speaking, the only people that can pronounce a person dead are medical doctors. So, like, even if you, like, pass out or, like, something happens to you or you, like, you do die, no matter where you are, you won't be pronounced dead till the ambulance is like taking you to the hospital or somewhere where a medical doctor can pronounce you dead. Like a medic who works in an ambulance apparently can't pronounce you dead.
Really?
Which is really strange to me. Because again, like, so if you see something that says like pronounced dead at whatever time of the day, it's like after they were in the care of someone.
They brought your corpse in and then attempted CPR.
Yeah, like who can legally say you're dead. Apparently,
Wow.
if you're not a doctor, you cannot like technically pronounce a person dead. So part of the reason that no one's ever died in Disney is because if an ambulance shows up and takes you away, you're not going to be pronounced dead in Disneyland because there's not a doctor standing there to do it.
I think I heard clearly it's a tall tale or something, but I feel like someone had once said, oh yeah, no, what'll happen is if you're dying, they drag you outside off park grounds and then they let whatever's going to happen. And then, oh yeah, this person died on the sidewalk on Anaheim Boulevard, but it wasn't in Disneyland.
I mean, I'm not going to say that wouldn't happen. Yes, there's absolutely a PR element to
Yeah.
this. No, 100%.
That's terrifying.
For sure.
But I mean, respecting that PR, I'm like, it's kind of nice to be in a place where you know, okay, no one's never died here. That's good.
But then it does call into question for me those news reports where you do hear them say pronounced dead at the scene.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, okay. So then how does that work?
So
was there someone there?
So what happens is that means
these
that
two things conflict, obviously.
Disney's like, we're only going to hire you as a medic on our property if you don't actually have a medical degree. But once you get outside, anyone who meets you to take the body, that person has a medical degree. They can pronounce stuff. But anyone that works for Disney is not allowed to have a medical degree. Just kidding, Disney.
This is getting really morbid.
Yeah, I don't want to get sued.
Right, can I talk about the poly?
Yes, let's talk about
all
the
right,
poly then. Moving on.
So, January, just a few weeks ago, my husband and my son and I went on our, the very first trip that you take as a DVC member is called your welcome home trip. So we went on our welcome home trip to our home resort, which is the Polynesian, often referred to as the Poly. And it was amazing. Mm-hmm. It was so the Polynesian is a resort that like we've dreamed of going to for years. We've been there to eat and stuff like that. We've gone and like walked around, and the very first time that I saw it was obviously during a Disney trip where my husband and my son actually stayed at the resort for a day while my brother and I went to Universal, just the two of us. And then at the end of that day, we all met up at the Polynesian for dinner. And we got there after dark, and like the tiki torches were all lit up, and they have like, you know, they're sort of like casting the light on all the different like waterfalls and water features. And it was just,
I love when they do that.
There's palm trees everywhere, and it was just so like, it just spoke to me. Like, it was just so my vibe. Because I love all things Polynesian, all things Hawaiian. I mean, everything. Mm-hmm. The food, the wildlife, like just everything. And so I remember walking around the resort just going, oh my God, like, we need to figure out how to come back and stay here. And that was in 21. So yes. And so then when it came up that you could buy, so when you do a DVC contract, you have your home resort. The Polynesian has not been available as one for, I don't even know, a very, very long time.
Very long time, yeah.
Very long time. And so recently they built the brand new DVC Island Towers. And so then that opened it up for contracts. And so that was kind of Lelo, of course, came over and was like, hey guys, guess what's available now? And so we were like, oh, maybe this is what's telling us it's finally time. Because we knew that we would eventually do DVC, but we thought it was very much further in the future. And so this was kind of like, all right, maybe this is the powers that be saying it's time.
Oh, that's funny, because that would break my heart too. Like, you know, I would be sitting here talking to her husband, Dan, and just saying, no, but I'm telling you, you really can do it. It's not impossible. I'm telling you, if I'm a DVC owner, you could be a DVC owner.
So, but we finally did it. And one of my favorite memories, though, will always be, so we were on the phone with our DVC guide, who was, like, literally in the process of becoming DVC members. And thank goodness, like, I was just, like, all over the place mentally. And Dan, thankfully, was like, oh, wait, we have to talk about Leslie, because what if she, like, gets something? And I was like, oh, my God, you're right, yes. So we asked our guide, and we were like, hey, we have this friend who's a DVC member, and she's literally the whole reason that we're doing this. So, like, she's got to get something. And he was like, oh, yeah, no, we have a thing for that. And he was like, is there any chance you could get her on the phone, like, right now? And I was like, well, shit, I don't know.
And I'm
so
terrible at answering my phone.
it's true. She does not answer the phone most of the time. So I'm feeling like pre-guilty, right? Because I'm thinking I'm going to call her and she's not going to answer, and then we're going to finish everything up, and then I'm going to have to tell her later that, like, you could have gotten something, but you didn't. So we call, and thankfully you answered. Mm-hmm. And I think you were at a store, right?
Shopping.
Yes. And so I go, okay, can you sit down, or are you in a place where you can, like, lose your shit? And she says the best thing. She's like, it doesn't matter. I'll lose my shit anyway. And I was like, all right, we are literally mid-process of becoming DVC members. And you said, and I quote, shut your face. And that rings in my head to this day, like, when Lelo was like, shut your face. So
if no one understands how much I've been talking, I was like, if anyone should be
so much
DVC owners, it's these guys. These
true.
guys spent so much money on cruises and Disney resorts. And, last time when we went to the D23 Expo, we stayed at Pixar Place. And I kept thinking, man, if we had points, we could have just stayed at, over there or at one of the DVCs in Anaheim. Yeah. So I was like, I could not believe that they hadn't really looked into DVC to becoming members.
Looked into it.
It sounds
there's
a lot
bit
more
of
expensive.
Sticker shock with DVC.
Yeah,
You
there
know
is.
this.
Yes.
There very much is. So, but anyway, so we become members, and you got money, right? You got
they sent me a gift card, $150 dining gift card for
Yep, awesome.
I was like, that is amazing.
Yep. So we go and so then we go on our welcome home trip to the Polynesian, which is just incredible. I cannot wait to go back. It was such a weird feeling being like walking into the lobby, which I've done before to be there to like eat or something. But to walk into that lobby being like, no, I'm staying here was so incredible. I have a newfound obsession with the centerpiece of the Polynesian is a statue of Maui. Not Maui as you saw him in Moana, but like the actual mythological god Maui in Polynesian culture. That's my cat messing with the tripod. It was shaky for a second. Yes, so that statue's in the lobby, and I am now like obsessed with it. But it was so incredible. The merch was incredible. The food was incredible. In my opinion, best food on property. Seriously, the best food that I've had anywhere across all of Disney World property. But again, that's because I love Hawaiian food.
Well, their food is really good.
Hawaiian
there's
food.
still Boma.
Boma is amazing.
I do love Boma.
I was going to say Animal Kingdom easily gets second. And very, very close.
Yeah.
But I love Hawaiian food so much. Like, I remember because I love pork. And I love ribs especially. And I remember being in Hawaii and like everywhere you go, on every menu, there is pork in like 4 different ways.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, this is my place. These are my people. Mm-hmm. Why don't we live here? Why wasn't I born here? So, so Polly was amazing. The merch was so fun. I picked up some really cool stuff and ate some amazing food. We ate these pulled pork nachos every day.
Oh, she brought me there and I had those pulled pork nachos and Captain Cook's and
amazing. I dream about them.
Yeah.
I literally dream about those nachos. They're incredible. Please, people at the Poly, never remove the nachos from the menu. Please. They're so, and I've talked to other people. These are just, they have to be there.
They're so good.
Like, they have to be there the same way Dole Whip has to be there. Mm-hmm. They need to be there. So, but the Polynesian is incredible. It's right on the Seven Seas Lagoon. It's right across from Magic Kingdom. We had a park view room. So we literally could see Space Mountain and Tron, like, close. We could see the castle. And I don't mean just, like, the tippy top of the castle, but I mean, like, pretty much the whole castle. And so we could watch the fireworks every night, literally just from our terrace. And they, like, pipe in the music and everything, too, for it, which is so fun. And if you don't have, what's really cool, if you don't have a park view, I don't know why I can't get that straight. Mm-hmm. If you don't have a park view room, there's so many different viewing spots that you can go to, which is really fun. They have, and actually in the tower, they even have these special viewing rooms that are even open. I mean, they obviously have like a guard thing, but they're open and they've got this beautiful artwork and these chairs and everything. No outlets, very intentionally, because they like to say, like, this is not where you come to work. This is not where you come to be on your phone. This is where you come to relax and to, like, enjoy the views. Oh. So, which I thought was really cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah. So even if you have a room, like, on the other side of the building where you don't see the park, you can just go to one of these really cool little viewing areas. And then, honestly, just anywhere around the resort. I mean, you can go down to, like, the beach area. You can go down to the pool area. Like, there's so many different places you can go. and just see the fireworks in the castle right there. It's amazing. I'm a nighttime spectacular person. Like, I love the nighttime spectaculars. They are Disney for me. So
Aww.
Staying at a resort where, like, even on the nights where I don't get to be in Magic Kingdom, I know that I still get to see the fireworks is so cool for me. But yes, and we were there for only a short time because it was just a quick little, we had to keep this one kind of tight. So we did 3 days and we only did 1 day in a park. We went to Epcot for 1 day and then we literally spent 2 full days just soaking up the Poly.
The Poly is, that is such a beautiful hotel.
I can't wait to go.
Yeah. I have DVC contracts at Copper Creek, the Polynesian, and Saratoga, and we've only stayed at the Saratoga one. We have not, and Animal Kingdom, we stayed there with you, but I haven't really branched out from those 2 yet because, again, our family size, it makes the most sense for us to get as much room as possible for the points.
Because you always take 100 people.
Yeah, I always
with
take
you.
100 people.
Oh, man.
So this coming trip, we have a trip coming up where we're going to actually stay at Old Key West, which is funny because we're going like even older. We're not doing something newer.
Sure, they were the very first DVC hotel.
Yeah. Yep. So I've gone to see, like, to tour the landscaping.
Yeah.
But we haven't actually stayed there yet. So that should be fun.
When are you going to Old Key West?
We're going for, Jeff turns 50 this year. My hubby turns 50. Right. So yeah, we're going to go just for a few days at the end of April, beginning of March, or sorry, May. So, we're going to be out there, and yeah, this is going to be a pretty busy spring because we've got our trip to Universal.
Yes.
And then,
you'll be.
I'll be coming back in just a couple weeks later. I'll be going back out for his birthday, and then come back, and then you have some trips coming up. Don't you have a Disneyland that you're going to try to do?
Well, we're trying. We're not sure yet.
Yeah.
So Disneyland is celebrating its 70th anniversary.
Yeah.
Kicks off on May 16th. I'm very excited about it. I am obsessed with the Disney castles. They're like one of my big things. I love the castles. So anytime they do something special to a castle, I have to see it. Like, I have to put my own eyes on it.
Do you have to buy merch on it?
Of course.
Except for the birthday cake.
Well, I just never even experienced that. Thank goodness. I got to miss that
I saw the birthday cake. That was rough.
That I know that is like the bellwether against which all bad Disney decisions are measured. I've seen photos. I'm glad I missed it. That looked horrendous. I can't believe that was up for more than a day. I can't believe the concept art made it through. So, but anyway, so Castle's gonna be all dolled up for the 70th. And I need to see it.
Yeah, of course.
So, but we have a lot going on this year because Lelo doesn't like to talk about it, but we are moving this year. So we have that going on.
We're still working on that.
Yes, you're just gonna come. So I mean, we have that going on, and then yes, we have our Universal conference / trip in April, and then so it's hard. It's because of the move. It's really hard commit to anything for the spring and summer. We're hoping September because that's also the best on points.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope that we can be there in September, but we will see. We've also talked about like maybe we would push it to January because that's a safer, like, we definitely can do stuff at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And January is also a good time to go. So I don't know. I'm really trying to make sure I make it to Disneyland for at least a day while the celebration is going on. Because they announced that they're bringing back Paint the Night.
Oh, yes, yes.
Which is one of my favorite parade / nighttime shows / anything. It's this amazing parade that they did I saw it in 2018. I was in Disneyland for my 30th birthday. That was Connor Wallace's very first Disney trip, period.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think it would be so cool because he was like 1.5. So it would, or 2. It would be so cool to go back and like for him to actually see the same parade that was playing the very first time he went, which obviously he does not remember.
Right.
So I'm so excited for Paint That. It's this incredible parade. It's a little bit in the spirit of like the Main Street Electrical Parade, where it's like it's lit up, and I remember reading, I remember the number, but it's like 300,000 lights or whatever. But the floats are just some of the most gorgeous, awe-inspiring floats I've ever seen in any parade. They're so amazing. I would love to see it again. And so when they announced that they were bringing that back for the anniversary, I got very excited. So yes.
Yeah, maybe January would be great because then you can kind of make sure everything's...
Yeah. And that will be right after, because we've got our trip, which does have dates.
Mm-hmm.
So yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And now there's apparently our Universal trip technically should be a 2-parter because we're doing a travel conference trip with Academy Travel to see Universal, but right before Epic opens.
Yeah. Well,
So
and
then-
it's mostly a training.
Yes.
It's not taking place in the park.
Right.
But we do get a ticket.
We get
but-
tickets, yeah.
Yeah.
So then they're saying that they're going to actually do training on the parks and everything else later on in the year, which would, I believe, we're not positive, but that should include Epic and then some more tours of like the new hotels that are going to go into Epic, which is so exciting.
Yes.
The Helios, I'm very excited to see that.
Looks incredible.
So-
It really does look incredible.
Yeah,
Universal
quite a few
they're bringing it.
Yeah,
man.
they really are.
They are not the side trip anymore with this
Mhm.
new Epic Park. It really looks like. So, yes, that will be really cool. I really hope we get like some sneaky previews or something.
I'm hoping so too. That'd be amazing to be
So
able
we'll
to share
share what we're allowed to share. We
Yeah.
know we don't necessarily know. We might, we got to keep a lot of it on the DL,
I
but
know.
we'll share what we can.
that. Super, super exciting.
But yes, but I'm so excited for our trips. We're going in November/December to Animal Kingdom Lodge,
Mm-hmm.
which Lelo didn't even know was one of my dreams.
I got to surprise her with
Yes.
taking her for one night last year.
Yes.
When we were on our work conference, and so we got to stay at the Animal Kingdom, and that resort is incredible.
Incredible. I love it so much. Again, incredible food.
Yes.
Incredible food. And if you're an animal lover, which I am,
Mm-hmm.
so great. We had a Savannah View room. It was painful that we could only be there for one night.
It's true. Yeah. If I had known it was going to be that amazing, I would have found I probably would have tried to find a way to get us to stay there longer.
Yeah.
And I definitely want my family to be able to see it. They haven't even stayed there yet.
Right.
Yeah. Jeff was super excited when he found out I was staying without him there. He's like, really?
But
Poor
it's
guy.
okay.
Yeah,
Because he'll
it's fine.
see it
Yeah,
when
he'll
we
see
go in November. It's going to be amazing.
Yes. Well, and that's what's great about DVC. You get to try all the different ones. So it's a lot of fun.
Will this be your first ever trip without 100 people? No? Okay, good.
Well, our welcome home.
Oh, that's true. You had your welcome home.
Yeah, and that was just Jeff and I because we kind of did the same thing. We were like, let's just find a 3-day trip. Let's just go. We were too excited.
Yeah.
And we had just come back from taking the kids. This was during COVID 2020. We had just finished coming back from a huge trip with the kids. So I didn't feel guilty. I was like, okay, it could just be the two of us. And so we had like a little mini honeymoon, or pre-honeymoon because we weren't married yet. But we had a little
Oh,
mini.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was 2 years before we got married. So we had a bit of a long engagement. We pulled a Roy and Pam
You're
thing.
doing DVC together
Mhm.
before you were married.
I know.
That's how sure you
That's
were.
how I knew this was the guy. Wow, he's going to commit to Disney with me? That's
true.
crazy.
It's true. I feel like maybe later down the road we should have an episode where we bring the husbands on and they can talk about what it's like being married to a Disney adult.
I know. We'll have to see
Both,
if we
both
can.
the good and bad.
The framing will be funny because Jeff is like up. Like usually he and I take opposite sides of the picture frame.
Jeff could
So-
be Andre the Giant.
He's very, very tall. Very tall. 6'5", big guy. So, but that'll be fun because he didn't do a whole lot of vacationing before he met me, and so then we got together and you can barely keep us home. So that's been really fun, and he's like the best travel partner. He's a lot of fun. And you would know, you shared a bed with him,
I did.
right, Jan?
I did share a bed with him.
That was pretty funny.
That's true. Yep.
Oh, have you guys gotten to the point where you can see the crossover yet? Oh no, not yet.
No, not
With
yet.
Sunny and
We're only in season 3.
of
I
Abbott
just
Elementary.
got into 3.
Oh yeah, I think we just barely started season 3.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's a fun one. But then Abbott Elementary is just fun, guys. Make sure you're watching Abbott Elementary.
Abbott Elementary is pretty great.
Give them all some
And we'll be so
love.
to have a crossover with Sunny. Because Abbott Elementary is like, I mean, it's definitely an adult show for sure, but it's quite like wholesome still in a lot of ways.
Right.
In a lot of ways. They're setting Ava aside, these are all very decent people. These are all good people, good-hearted people. And then you have Sunny, where these just absolute monsters of human beings.
So now
Like,
you're gonna
true,
have an
like,
episode where you have
I
Danny
mean-
DeVito talking to Mr. Johnson. It's just great. It's great. Those two characters are fantastic. Frank and Mr. Johnson in the same room, just, they're great. Really, really excited you guys are going to watch that.
I bet, yeah. I'm excited. Well, and there's a part 2, I guess, to the crossover that is going to be on Sunny and not on Abbott. Yes.
What?
Yeah.
Wait. Okay.
Because so far it was
I don't have to
only
figure that
on
one out.
Abbott.
Okay. Yeah.
But there's another episode that we're going to see that will be on Sunny.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Wonder how they're...
I'm excited.
Okay, I can't even talk to you about it because you haven't seen it yet, so I can't.
Oh,
Interesting.
but shoot. So now I don't know. I should go online and see if, like, if there's any importance to the chronology of it. Because, like...
For me, as far as me catching up with
Well,
Sunny?
because we've been watching Sunny, like, forever. Like, we're caught up on Sunny.
Mm-hmm.
So we're, all, like... Sunny is a show for us where, like, we're waiting for the next one. But Abbott, it's, like, so much of it is already out there, and we're just now starting it. So... If we get to the crossover on Abbott, I wonder how that will time out, like, with the one... Should I... Like, what I'm wondering is should I not watch the crossover episode on Sunny until I've watched the one on Abbott? Because the one on Abbott aired first, but I will definitely be to the Sunny one first. So I'll probably have to kind of hold off on my Sunny until I've caught up on Abbott.
Yeah. We'll hold off on it anyway, and I'll watch the crossover on Sunny with you guys.
By the way, this is part of the reason, I'm sorry, this is going to sound so harsh, and Lelo's going to get mad at me all over again. This is part of the reason that I abandoned Marvel. Because, so 2 things. One, I'm sorry, but Endgame was just, it was epic. It was absolutely epic, that movie.
My side-eye game is strong, guys,
and
right now.
It's super,
strong.
I can feel it, I don't even have to see it. But Endgame was just, it was, the battle, everything about it was so just epic, so amazing. And I remember watching it and just being, there's absolutely no way to top this battle. You can't possibly, I mean, this was literally about bringing back half of Earth's, population. Mm-hmm. And also we lost Tony. I bawled like a baby when we lost Tony. And then obviously, like Steve, he's retired, or however you want to look at that.
Black Widow.
And Black Widow's gone. And so, like, as previously stated, my favorites being Tony Stark and Black Widow, like, they're not out of the game. And so I just, like, it's so sad for me that I just feel like Endgame was the end for me. I feel like I was just, I had to tap out after Endgame. It was so incredible. I think it was just untoppable. And it just feels weird to watch anything knowing that they're gone. The only exception being Spider-Man, because I love Tom Holland as
same.
Spider-Man.
Absolutely.
So I'm really loving Spider-Man. But he's getting really involved with Strange, and I'm not super up to date on Strange. So, like, the reason that, like, Sunny and Abbott made me say this is my band in Marvel is because Marvel has just gotten so... There's so many storylines, and there's so many characters, and there's so much going on, and they all intertwine with each other. Mm-hmm. So it basically became like, if you're fully keeping up on Marvel, it's your hobby at this point. With the TV series, there's even like the shorts, like, and I did actually like the Thor shorts, the what was going on during shorts, those were pretty fun, but those are like 4 minutes each.
Yeah.
So I'm watching Tom Holland Spider-Man movies, which I love, but I'm constantly thinking, if he gets so intertwined with Strange that I have to keep up on Strange in order to keep up with Spider-Man, I'm out. I'm sorry, I'm not putting in the time and effort. I don't have it. Like, I literally don't have it available to me to do that. And Star Wars has done the same thing. Star Wars has gotten so spread out. There's so many different things going on with Star Wars. I'm really excited about the Mando movie, and I'll definitely keep watching Mando if it comes on. And so it's like, because they both got so big and there's so much to them, I have to pick. I don't have the time and effort for both, and my Star Wars fandom is going to beat my Marvel fandom every time. I'm sorry, but it is.
I'm just looking for
So
the
it's
lightning.
like,
I'm going to sit back.
If I'm
lightning
watch,
striking
I
soon.
haven't even gotten to watch Andor yet, and I really want to. I haven't gotten to watch Ahsoka yet, and I'm just like, I'm sorry, but Star Wars is going to beat out Marvel for me. Like, if it's going to take so much time and effort, I'm going to have to pick, and Star Wars is going to win.
Fine.
Because they took Tony from me, Lelo, okay? They took Tony from me!
I know, but then they gave us Deadpool.
That's kind of a separate.
Yeah.
See, that I can watch, because that has stayed quite separate. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, and I guess, I don't know how, that's probably going to stay separate for a minute.
Yeah.
Darn it.
Okay. It's probably done.
Going back to my sore subject.
So anyways, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but I just think I'm out on Marvel unless something, I don't know.
Hot on Marvel. She doesn't
Unless
find Chris
something
Hemsworth hot.
pulls me back
I don't even know what to
in.
say anymore. I thought I knew you, Dana.
I know.
I
I'm
know.
sorry.
Oh my gosh.
If it directly comes out of pre-Endgame, because like I want to watch, like I'll watch the next Ant-Man because I love Paul Rudd, but like again, I need to be able to just watch Ant-Man. If a new Ant-Man comes out and it's like, oh, if you haven't watched literally everything, you're gonna be confused, and then I'm gonna be like, all right, well, so much for that. I'm sorry.
I know. I mean,
There's so much.
I get it. It's fair. My daughter, my oldest daughter, huge Marvel fan, but feels the same way. She was like, okay, she really loved Loki and did not like the way Loki changed in the show. She's like, I don't feel like that's my Loki.
Like personality.
Yeah,
wise.
she just, the way he is with the TVA, he just kind of, there's a lot of changing. She hated the female variant of Loki. She could not stand
There's
that.
a female variant of Loki.
Yes.
See what I mean? There's so much to keep track of.
And then he supposedly, like, towards the end, big spoiler alert, guys, for anyone who has not watched this. But, and to be honest with you, I haven't even seen it yet. But at the end of the Loki series, he somehow rips through everything and sacrifices himself to bring together the one timeline again. So instead of there being a bunch of different branches of the multiverse out there, it's supposed to be just one time strand, which kind of still doesn't make sense to me because we still have all these split things going on.
Yeah.
And, now they, like, Fantastic Four is coming out, and that's supposed to be in a different alternate universe or timeline.
So we're bringing in, oh my god.
Yeah.
Are they
But
going to bring in the X-Men too? Like,
Yes.
they're still owned by
Well,
Sony, so I guess they got to work out some contracts. But
Well, because that's how they were able to bring in Wolverine,
that's true.
because he's X-Men, yeah. So,
That's
but
true.
I don't even know what's going to happen with that.
Yeah.
And I'm still trying to catch up now with, like, Daredevil coming back. And
Right,
joining
Daredevil.
Marvel, because
Yeah,
that's Marvel
see.
too. Yeah. So I okay, fine, maybe. You got a point.
Sorry.
I mean, Marvel's it's a lot.
I also don't go to theaters, which is another thing that drives Lelo crazy. I'm sorry, I don't do theaters.
And now they've got 4DX experiences, which is how I want to see the new Captain America. My kids went to go see it, and they had a great experience. They said it was actually a lot of fun and made the movie more fun, which is fine with me. Because I'm excited to kind of see some of the old school characters kind of.
Sure.
But I'm actually really excited about Thunderbolts. I like Winter Soldier, and I loved Yelena, like I told you. So.
I did love X-Men, like when I was little, the X-Men cartoon. Loved
Oh.
it. And Wolverine was always my favorite.
Wait, are you talking about X-Men like 97?
I don't even know. It was the one that came on TV when I was a small child.
Well, when you were a
So
small
I
child
was-
and when I was a small child,
I
that's
was
two
not-
different timelines. So
I was it's two different timelines. I was not. I don't know what channel it was on. I don't know. Grandma
Okay.
would turn it on for me, and I would watch it.
Got
I was like, I was a very spread. Like my tastes have always been oddly spread. Like I loved X-Men. I also watched Care Bears like in the same day. So
Are you kidding? I love
was all
Gummy
over.
Bears and Gem and the Holograms all day, every day. She-Ra. But
Teenage
I'm
Mutant Ninja Turtles, OG Teenage Mutant
Yeah,
Ninja
the-
Turtles. That was super my jam.
Corey Feldman, his
Yes.
voice. It's the only time I've really loved his voice.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, I could not name any of the voice actors.
Corey
That's-
Feldman?
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. He's kind of he's like and I say this in with full love for Corey Feldman. He's kind of a mutant. God bless him. He's a strange one, but I do love to see like his old school stuff and are they really making a Goonies too, or is that just AI stuff that I've been hearing?
I haven't heard any of that. I hope not.
Okay. Well, from what I understand, I think someone was saying they're trying to come out with Goonies too.
I didn't know until recently that the guy on the... This was a dumb thing to even start because I don't know the names of anything. So there's a Disney show. I think it's an all-Asian cast. Do you know what show I'm talking about? It looks... I haven't watched it. It looks
Okay.
really cool. But anyway...
The brother's son?
Maybe. I was just recently watching an interview with the main character. He's the kid from Goonies.
Oh, yeah.
And apparently, and he's in a new...
Well, he's Short Round from the Indiana Jones movie
Yes.
too. Yes.
And he's in a new movie, and he was talking about the movie.
Love Hurts.
Oh, okay. And it's got apparently Sean Astin, another Goonie, has like a cameo or something in it.
I didn't know that. I want to see that
Yeah.
movie though. Really?
That excites me.
Yeah, no, well, he won the Academy Award for Everywhere, or, oh my God, Anywhere, Everywhere, All at Once, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
Did you watch that movie?
I did not. Lelo's always bringing up shows and movies and actors, and I'm so out of touch with the
This
entertainment world. I never know. She'll always be like, did you see this movie? Every time it's a no. But every time I ask her if she's seen something, which is also far less common that even happens, she says yes to me a lot more than I say. I never say
I'm a
yes.
huge movie person.
She's just, I know.
Yeah.
I have so little time.
Well, I should
It's
technically
so
too. I have 17 jobs.
I know. I don't know how you do. You want to tell me how you manage to live your life and also watch all of your entertainment?
Yeah.
How do you even do it?
I don't sleep.
That's
That's the answer. I just don't sleep, and then I work all the time, and then I give myself vacations, and I go to Disney World, and then I come back and I start it all over again.
Lilo,
So-
you need to sleep.
I know. That's what my husband says too.
It's very important.
It's got to happen at some point, but there's just too much going on, like you
There is
said.
so much going on.
And you're right, Marvel is a hobby. It takes a lot to catch up with that.
There's so but I do want to say I loved WandaVision. Did you watch WandaVision?
Oh, of course, yes.
Loved WandaVision, and it did make me want to watch Agatha all along. But I don't know. Probably like 10 years from now, I'll be like, hey, has anyone else watching Agatha all along? And everyone will be like, yeah, a decade ago.
Yeah, that
Dani."
was. Get it
That
together,
happens
Dani.
now all the time, where I will be so late to the game on like Key and Peele. Love Key and Peele. Probably my favorite sketch show ever. Did not start watching it till, I don't know, a year ago. And
Yikes,
so
really?
I know. And so I went to my office. I was talking to my boss at the time, because he and I would talk a lot about like movies and different stuff like that. And I would be like, dude, I need you to just pretend with me for a second, because I know what I'm about to say is embarrassingly outdated. But I just found Key and Peele best show, and he was just like, yeah. A while ago. I was
ago. Like you're still doing the sketches from the substitute teacher? They're like,
I love the ones from the substitute teacher. Oh my favorites are the when they're the valets, and they're always talking about celebrities, but they always say their names like a little bit wrong.
A little bit wrong.
And then something always happens in the end, like they explode or they shatter or like something weird happens. But like, because I especially love the one where they're talking about Sandra Bullock and Anne Hathaway, or Sandy Bullock's and Anne Hathaway's. And I love how it comes up, because he's like, they hating on the Anne Hathaways. And he's like, who? He's like, I don't know there. And he has this line, I'm going to do I don't do impressions, so I pre-apologize. But he has this line where one of them says to the other, he says, sorry, I'm butchering this so bad. But he says, I've been riding with the Anne Hathaway since Princess Diaries. And it's so funny, and I love it so much, because I also remember seeing.
You sounded just like him, just so you know. That was a great impression.
Whatever. But I also remember seeing Princess Diaries in the theater, and it was like that was Anne Hathaway's debut, and it's such a great movie. It is a good movie.
I love that movie.
Love that movie, and it's about it's her and her grandmother, and my grandma and I saw it together, so it was always kind of special in that way. And I love my whole life. I've loved Julie Andrews. I think she's just a gem of a person. She needs to be here forever.
Yeah.
I love her so much. So anyway, but that line when he said, been rolling with Anne Hathaway since Princess Diaries, I was like, me too!
I'm an Anne Hathaway fan. I know she gets a lot of hate for some reason. I'm not really quite sure why. I don't know. People...
So I feel
don't know.
So actually, I'm kind of glad this came up, because I remember seeing footage of this, and it was one of the things that people were... Because most of the time, when people get all uppity and they're like, so-and-so was awful, and he said this awful thing, usually it's bluster or it's buzzwords, right? So I usually go and find it, and so I can see it in its full context. Mm-hmm. And so there was this one people were freaking out about, and they were saying she's so awful, and she's such a diva, and she's like all these things, because apparently they were saying that she like doesn't appreciate her fans, or she doesn't like her fans because she was like refusing to sign autographs or do something. So I went and found the footage, and I 100% am on her side. Mm-hmm. And so basically she was at some kind of event, because she like got out of a limo, and she's very dressed up, and there was a bunch of fans around, and they all come toward her, and she put her hands out, and she was like, please stop, like we're gonna be at a respectable distance. And so I was like, that's a 100% reasonable thing to do. Mm-hmm. Like, just because you are a celebrity does not mean that you are physically like you're there for other people.
Public property.
Yeah. So I admired her for the fact that she had no hesitation, and she had the confidence, and like she knows her self-worth to put her hands up and say like, no, you don't all get to just swarm me. That is not appropriate. Uh-huh. And it's truly not appropriate. It's like, only do we expect that on celebrities, which is ridiculous.
Well, and it's funny that when you say that, I totally agree, because I've seen her on interviews and stuff like that, and I thought, well, you know, they keep giving her all this hate, and all I see when I see Anne Hathaway, I see a woman who is very calm, cool, she's very collected.
And she has boundaries.
Yeah, she has boundaries, and she's like, hey, you know, I'm still a human being, and I have rights like you do, and, you know, she doesn't want to be mauled by people.
No,
I
who
get that.
does?
Yeah, and there are days I can wake up, and if I haven't had my coffee, I don't want you saying good morning to me. So imagine not having your coffee, you're already in a grumpy mood, you're having a rough day, and you're expected to look a certain way and act a certain way and everything. By the time you open that front door in the morning, there's no way.
Yeah.
To be nice to all these people who've camped outside your house with like cameras and video cameras to catch you doing something gross.
No, and she even still said, she was like, you know, I want all of you to get something, you know, so like I'm gonna stay here and we can take some pictures and I can answer some questions and like, you know, all of that. But like we're all gonna respect each other's space. Like 100% reasonable.
Yeah.
So
And that's coming from me. I'm the first person to attack the celebrities if I was allowed. Be like, oh my God, Anne, I love you so much. And I probably would jump on her. But again, if she had done that first, I'd be like, oh yeah. And it would remind me.
They're rumoring Princess Diaries 3.
Really?
Yes. Which could be fun. 2 wasn't great. But I don't know, it could be cool. Chris Pine, I guess, made a comment about, like, he didn't confirm or deny it, but there was a rumor about it. And he was like, he said something funny about, like, being open to doing a 3 with different hair. Which is fair, because if you remember his hair in 2.
That was bad.
That was bad.
That was real bad.
I felt so awful for him.
Did you? Well, never mind. I was actually going to ask you, did you see the movie? And I forgot.
I won't. Which one?
I know you're not going to see it. And now I forgot the name of it. It's where he's a spy and he's in love with...
Who's he?
Chris Pine.
Oh, nope.
But then
I've never seen Chris Pine be a spy.
Okay.
I have seen Chris
This is
Pine...
a rom-com where he's a spy.
I have seen Chris Pine in Princess Diaries, Star Trek, and Wonder Woman. That's all I've got for Chris Pine. I'm very... Well, you're so upset. She is so upset.
Wait, you said Star Trek, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. By the way, I'm going to get us some real hate for this next one. The Star Trek movies that have, like, Chris Pine and Zoe Saldana, the only thing out of the entire Star Trek universe that I like. I'm sorry.
So... I
like Star Trek Next Generation when we had Patrick Stewart as Picard, but here's the weird thing about it. So that was my Star Trek. That's what was on TV when I was a kid. And Star Trek was on one of the few channels that you just had. Because we did not have, there was no cable, there was nothing. We had like the 4 channels that just everyone gets with an antenna. Mm-hmm. And Star Trek came on one of those channels. So I have like a childhood sentimental attachment to Next Generation, but I tried to rewatch it as an adult. I couldn't do it. It was a little dated for me.
That's dated.
But I can watch the Chris Pine movies repeatedly.
I was in the movie theater watching William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy come back to Earth with the humpback whales. That's how old I am in that Star Trek movie.
See,
so this is where we're going to end our podcast today.
She's so mad. She needs to run away from
wow,
me now.
I am old. Thanks for reminding me how much older I am than you.
Not
like
old.
Next Generation. That was so cute. No.
I tried to watch the original series and I could not watch more than like 3 episodes. I just couldn't. Like,
my husband.
You literally see the sets move.
I know.
Like,
but that's back there with like the Adam West Batman. Like,
I can't watch that either. I can't.
They're hokey nostalgia for a lot of people. But yeah, that was rough. But in a campy, fun way. I loved it. But I'm old. So, yeah, exactly. I mean...
Yeah, tell us about Disco, Lelo.
What?
Were you sad to see Disco die?
So I was around the first time bell bottoms were cool.
I like bell bottoms.
I still like
I
bell
want
bottoms.
bell bottoms to come. Maybe I'll just start wearing bell bottoms. I like bell bottoms.
Yeah.
There have been some bad trends, but...
Trends?
I always kind of secretly liked bell bottoms. I thought they were fun.
I love bell bottoms.
I also don't like things being super tight around my ankles, so honestly, they work for me.
Yeah. I'm every trend... Well, since Blake Lively wears every single trend on
At the
all
same
of her
time?
costumes, yeah. I hate all of those trends. Those were all terrible.
They were
even separately.
Were they even trends, or were they just
No.
her?
God, it was so gross.
I don't think it was a trend. It has to be more than one person to be a trend.
Yeah, she has like a gloriously beautiful figure. And the fact that she wore enough clothes to make her look terrible. I was like, how is that even possible? Crazy. Anyway, don't get me started on. See, we're just trying to go back to something I can't even talk about right now.
We're not gonna go back to that.
Sore subject. All right. So
let's see. Well, thank you so much for listening to episode 1. Thank you so much for coming back to this one.
Yes.
Thanks
for again, like we said, you guys are growing with us. We're learning. You guys got to hear all of our bugs. It was fun.
The wrong one went up. We're so sorry. The wrong one got posted, and we figured it out too late. And we were like, well, there's no point in taking it down now.
No, like 8 people have seen it. It's there. It's out there for the world to see. Okay, so socials. You can find us on
Instagram. Hitchhiking Ghostettes on Instagram and YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also catch when we do our resort reviews and our room tours.
Yes.
Those are on YouTube.
Yeah, we have some of those up already, so you guys can check those out. Definitely reach out to us in the comments below or something if there's anything that you want to hear us talk about, or if you want to chime in on the Chris Hemsworth is definitely hotter than Liam Hemsworth debate we got going on here. Please.
Does anyone else think Marvel just got way too saturated?
We don't need any comments on that. No, don't worry about that one. Fine. Let me know what you think.
Maybe they'll be on your side. Maybe they'll be like, no, Star Wars is too saturated. You never know.
I don't think that would happen. Like, I don't think... Star Wars? That's like, no, everyone loves Star Wars. Anyway, so, yes. Comment, let us know what else you'd like to talk about, or what you'd like to hear from us. If you want to hear more stories about Disney from my past.
If you want advice for your trip, or any questions that you have about going.
Yes, if you need any information on, planning your next travel or your next trip, let us know. And I think that's it. So that's going to be the Hitchhiking Ghostettes signing off. Catch you later. Bye.